You were like, I really enjoyed that.
Huh.
Nothing. Oh, anything else?
I mean, that's it. That's all I can think of.
Wow. You didn't, nothing else, like no time with God, no fun with your children.
But that's consistent. I love my time with the Lord.
Okay.
No. Autumn came to me.
Okay. There we go.
Nah, I thought about it.
Yeah. No, we can talk. Go ahead.
Autumn came to me. She was just like really open about her emotions and her feelings.
You didn't tell me this.
Yeah. She came to me and she was just like, I love you, Daddy. And I was like, I love you too, Autumn. Why you say that? I don't know. I just love you. And I'm like,
when was this?
This was the other day. I was sitting on the couch watching old basketball games and she just came and then she was just really talkative. And you know one thing I'm learning about Autumn?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why this is a big deal because Autumn is a very sweet kid, but she's just not as expressive.
No. Yeah.
As our other children. And one thing I'm learning about Autumn is she just loves to come and talk to me when she doesn't have to compete with her siblings.
That's true.
Like if Eden is not around, if she ever sees me by myself, she takes the opportunity to come and talk to me. And so I was like, I noticed that. And so now I'm like, okay, I got to make sure I get her by herself.
That's smart.
Yeah.
That's thoughtful.
But because I know she loves me, but she just ain't gonna always say it like Sage and Eden.
Yeah.
And so the fact that, she came and sat on my lap and just told me how much she loved me.
That's sweet.
It's a very sweet moment.
I don't know if I had a favorite moment this week. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I had my pop-up shop yesterday too.
Oh, we're back to you. Go ahead.
Yeah. It's all about me right now.
Yeah.
I had my pop-up shop yesterday and that was good.
What were you selling?
My merchandise.
People may not know.
So I have a clothing line called Boat Apparel, where I make clothes that I attempt to be fashionable, but at the same time start conversations with people in the streets.
Is there a website?
Yes, boatapparelshop.com.
Shop or shot?
Shop.
Okay, there we go.
Okay.
Praise God.
What was your favorite thing this week?
Me?
Yeah. Right.
I don't think I had one.
Nothing you could think about.
I really can't think of nothing. But part of it is I could have had it, but I'm so sleepy, I don't remember. I'm really tired right now. And so I don't know. You know what's going to be my favorite thing though?
Sleep.
When we clean our room. That is going to bring me so much joy. Because right now, it's
giving chaos.
It's giving confusion.
Yeah.
It's giving Genesis 1, like before he had like made everything like orderly, like, and I can't sleep well and I can't think and I don't even want to be in there because of the way.
I'm going to clean the room for you.
No, you don't have to clean. We can do it together. But our closet, oh my gosh.
Yeah. We need another one of those.
World War II.
Yes. Yeah. We need
Vietnam.
We need another one.
The first war.
Right. Where everybody died. Okay.
What are we talking about? We're talking about so we thought that it could be cool if we revisited some of the discussions that we had the first season, because the first season we were kind of winging it. You know what I'm saying? We were in our closet. We were on a Yeti mic. I liked
it though.
We were sitting on the floor. No, it was cool. Like the closet was a great sound buffer. You know what I'm saying? But we also this is almost 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And so we've learned more about many of the subjects that we talked about.
Facts.
And so we wanted to revisit a conversation that many people said they were blessed by, which is how to argue well.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I don't all the way remember the conversation that we had back in the day.
I remember talking about our personalities and our upbringing or our family of origin and how that plays a part in your communication style.
Yeah.
So let's begin that way. What would you say if you were to think about how you were raised, how you saw confrontation handled in your home or even in your like neighborhood? Like how has that influenced the way you engage in confrontation, especially with me?
I mean, in my home, it was always quick-tempered, short fuse, and we didn't cut each other off because we loved one another. Our family was like we all we got always, but we wasn't the most patient with one another at times. But outside people, the way I saw, the outside and my family deal with people outside, it's like you got one chance to disrespect me and it's over. Either we finna fight or I'm just not gonna deal with you no more. Like you not finna get no more energy from me.
Got it.
And so I think that's the way I kind of grew up seeing people, operate and function.
When you had issues or confrontations with people before Christ, how did you handle confrontation?
Oh man, before Christ?
Yes.
No, give you buck. We was fighting. We was throwing hands.
So you didn't want to reconcile ever? No reconciliate. No.
I had homeboys that I was cool with, that I loved, and and I felt connected to in some ways. And when we get into it, there were like reconciliation moments, but it looked way different in Christ.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? It was like, why you acting like a? Because you said this. He's like, all right, my bad. It's like, those type of reconciliations. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
But not like real reconciliation moments. Like I didn't even understand that concept. It was kind of like you grew up with who you grew up with, and some relationships was worth fighting for more than others.
So what makes this very interesting to me then is, if your family of origin and even, your friendship context, if confrontation was always handled impatiently or violently, then in what ways does that still show up in our relationship? Because you're not a violent man towards me, right?
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean that there isn't some type of underlying anger that might want to pop out when issues come up.
Yeah, the flesh is always, and that's a really good question, and I would want you to kind of answer that from your perspective as well. But I think for me, patience has always been the thing that I feel like the Lord has tried to groom me in, even now, and I feel like patience for me is a lifelong sanctifying process that the Lord is taking me through.
What is difficult about patience for you?
It's hard to be a leader, one, and to have a vision of what you feel like you and your family should do, and not feel like everybody is always cooperating, or not even cooperating, but seeing the vision, right? It's like man, like it's a lot of dying to self, because a lot of times the intentions and the heart is pure. And what I want to see accomplished, but that's sometimes like the frustration and the irritation can grow when I don't want to give people the same amount of patience that I feel like the Lord gives me.
Do you feel like when you were growing up, people weren't patient with you?
Like, this is a therapy session.
I'm so intrigued.
Yeah. Like, of course, like, I realized when I became a Christian, and this is no shade to my family, but I realized that I really didn't even know what patience was. I knew what tolerance was. I knew that I was tolerated to a certain extent, and I felt that was crazy. I think that when you are not when you don't have like patience displayed to you on an everyday basis, sometimes tolerance seems like the best form of love. And so for me, people being tolerant of me was like, man, you love me. But I didn't even know it was a deeper level of love. And that was like Christ-like patience. And so it wasn't until I became a Christian where I saw the difference. And I saw like, no, Christ, he just doesn't tolerate me. He's patient with me. And so even in my marriage, I had to learn that, early on. I had to learn that, like, no, I don't want to tolerate my wife. I don't want to tolerate my children. I don't even want to tolerate the people in my local community. I want to love them well, and I want to be patient with them. And so when we have disagreements or arguments, it's kind of like, how can I die to myself in a way that would display Christ-like love and patience?
I ask those questions because I think it's wise for us to understand that the way we were reared, and I think we know this as Christians by now, but the way we were reared and the things we observed in our homes, we often rehearse. And not even on purpose.
What were some things you rehearsed that you saw modeled?
So confrontation in my house was not a thing. And so if and my mom knows this because I asked her, like, why you don't confront stuff? But like, if she had an issue with anything, she wouldn't say it, but you would feel it. You would see it. Like, you would know that she's kind of shut down emotionally, that she's not she's not participating with me in the same way that she was before. And so I think, or if she had issues with friends, the friends would just disappear. You just wouldn't see them around. And so I think how I learned to confront issues is not to confront issues. And so when me and you get together, that creates a storm, because you're somebody that is impatient, and therefore you want to confront an issue immediately.
Yeah.
And I'm someone who doesn't even have the tools or the resources or the desire to confront an issue. And so that just kind of creates a clash.
Because we grew up in two different homes. I mean, we grew up in a home where if you had an issue, you come into somebody's room like, I got an issue with
immediately.
You know what I'm saying? And so like even the way we function in I think you're right. Even the way we function in marriage is a reflection of how we were raised in our upbringing.
For sure.
You know, for me, it was just really tough trying to deal with conflict with you in the beginning, because I felt like the way you process or the way you learned how to process your emotions or whatever was hindering our growth.
Interesting, yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I felt like, man, like if we have conflict there, like how is it going to be resolved if you don't want to touch it?
Right.
Right. And vice versa.
Which is fair.
Yeah. But at the same time, like I also had to learn from you, right? I had to learn that everything is not worth speaking at that moment.
Yes.
And so it's a balance.
Because sometimes in wanting to address if you want to address a conflict prematurely, it creates more conflict.
Yes.
And so there's a sense in which patience says that it would be wiser for us both to process and think through what we feel, so that even when we come together, we're not speaking purely out of emotion and purely out of irritation or purely out of anger, but we've kind of sifted it with Jesus in the word or with people, so that when we come together, it's actually more healthy and more fruitful. Because I've had to tell you, I cannot talk about this right now because it will not be good.
Yeah.
I know myself. So if you try to push me out of that before I fully, not even fully, at least partially worked it through in my brain, you're not going to get a good Jackie.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I think for me, speaking of Jesus, I think.
Yeah, we like him.
Yeah.
Love him.
I think.
Serve him. Honor him. Glorify him.
Okay, I'm waiting to
sacrifice to him.
Right.
He is Lord.
Right.
Of
Adore
heaven
him.
and earth.
Did you say adore?
Adore him.
Okay.
Because he is the image of the invisible God.
All right.
The firstborn among all creation.
Right. That's what the words say.
That's Colossians
1. Be quiet, please. Speaking of Jesus, this isn't necessarily related to like marriage conflict, but when Jesus was dealing with the Pharisees and the religious leaders of his time, you always saw him saying to his disciples, "It's not time for this. This is not the time for the Son of Man to be captured." And you saw a lot of times. One time the Pharisees tried to snatch him up, and it said Jesus like fled away. I don't even know what that all looked like. I don't know if he disappeared. I don't know if he like shimmied away. You know what I'm saying? But he avoided conflict because he knew what ultimately had to happen, right?
That's good.
But he knew like at this moment, this is not time for the conflict, right? It has to be done in my divine wisdom.
That's good.
And I think a lot of times in conflict in marriage, you have the one who kind of is like me, who feels like, no, we have to settle this right now. And it's like, okay, you're not afraid of confronting things head on, but are you using God's wisdom, his divine wisdom, and when you do it?
Yeah.
Because you could do something prematurely and you won't even get to the destination that you wanted to get to because you did it prematurely.
And I think timing also reveals why you want to talk.
Yeah.
Right. So what I mean is you often wanted to have a conversation or do want to have a conversation quick to like resolve the tension in your own heart.
Yeah. To get something off my chest.
It's actually not about unity.
Yeah.
It's not actually about peace.
Yeah.
It's that you feel disoriented and you don't want the chaos. You know what I'm saying?
But wait, let me take it a step further. But at times I was convinced that it was about unity, and I was convinced that it was about peace, because I was always taking my peace for our peace.
What do you mean?
Like what I felt like was peace. I felt like if I'm peaceful, we're peaceful.
Yeah.
If I feel like I'm good, we're good.
That's actually arrogant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was arrogant.
No, I'm not. That's not. I'm just saying.
Yeah. No. You're right. No,
because we're two different people.
Yeah. And so like I felt like, okay, if I feel this way, you know, like maybe if I can get it off my chest and she can see where I'm coming from, we can be good.
Yeah.
And what I needed to do is like kind of forget about me in some ways and come to you and say, you know what, how are you?
Yeah.
Or when do you want to talk? Or how do you want to process? But
in the same way, I think me shutting down, because I even had to learn that even shutting down can be a form of vengeance.
Yeah.
And people don't think of it that way. They think vengeance is like, oh, I'm going to fight you, or I'm going to put some sugar in your tank, or I'm going to be verbally mean.
Yeah.
But withholding yourself from somebody that you're called to love is also I'm not going to curse you out, but I'm not going to talk to you at all. You get what I'm saying? So I'm withholding myself. That's a form of punishment.
Yeah, that's good.
And so I think I had to realize that, one, that's not like Jesus, but two, that even though I need you to give me space to process, I also need to be willing to step outside of myself to serve you and reconcile with you too. You know what I'm saying? So it takes a level of humility to say, like, Jackie, talk.
Yeah.
Talk it out. But I think you also being a secure person, because people who are afraid of conflict, what they're afraid of is also abandonment and rejection. And so I'm less likely to want to work through conflict if I don't believe that after we do it, you'll stay.